Hey everyone. So I'm going to talk about the senses override. That's the name I gave to my presentation to show what the future may hold in visualization and how we interact with digital environment. So you may have heard this sentence quite a bit over the news lately, over articles. Virtual reality is coming. We all heard it. We've seen it in movies like The Matrix, where everyone is plugged into this virtual world, or maybe in Star Trek, where you have a holodeck and you can recreate any kind of virtual environment and transfer yourself to a movie or history or something. So it's really, how do you go to somewhere else? How do you create an environment which you can't always be at, so you can explore new places and explore new places on Earth or new places which do not exist on Earth? Or maybe how you can be someone which you can't be in real life. Like, I'm a gamer, and in games you can be a fighter or a mage and just fight huge monsters. And virtual reality lets you experience it. They let you be in that environment, in that atmosphere, feel almost everything you can feel over there. So that's virtual reality for me. But virtual reality allows us to do more things, not just a virtual, not just imaginary, but this is an image from NASA, from the Curiosity rover on Mars. And you can see everything that the rover can see. It has a 3D panorama where you can look around and just experience the imagery on Mars. And this is something people on Earth can't usually feel. But if you put on a headset and you just look around, you're suddenly almost there. And it can also transform other media consumption experiences, such as movies. I mean, how many of you people around here have tried this cardboard today or over the week? Okay, so you may have looked at Windy Day, for example, and this is just a demo of how movie consumption couldn't look like. You're not looking at the screen anymore. You're in the scene. You're inside the movie. You're looking around as things are going around you. And then there's actual practical applications. For example, if you're building your new house and you want to see how it will look like, you want to experience it, feel the dimensions in real life, then you can take your blueprint, you can take the diagram and maybe make it into a 3D model and then just walk inside. It's so different when you feel the dimensions of the place and you just get a really good feeling on how it would be and what you exactly want from it to be. And there are also applications for simulation. Now, I wanted to put an image from a game called Surgeon Simulator, but I decided it might not be a very good choice. But there are applications, for example, for training. If you want to train as a pilot or as a doctor, you can use a virtual environment and just interact with the world and get the full training, the full feel, and exactly what a doctor would feel like, or a pilot, exactly what they see and how they interact with everything. So how do you do it? There are so many headsets nowadays. They started about 2 or 3 years ago. There are also really old ones which don't exist anymore from like 20 years ago, but these are the ones coming up now. The most famous ones are the Sony Morpheus and the Oculus Rift on the top left. And there are also others which you can put your phone in. So the two on the top actually connect to a PC and the PlayStation, while other ones just use your phone because everyone has a phone nowadays, so you can use it as a screen. And then there's a big community that allows you to use these devices and then use existing applications, transform them into a virtual environment and the full 3D experience, because you can't just use any application. But there's not a lot of content yet, and there's not a lot of support. So if you just download a driver for it, you can hack almost any application to make it work. And then there's the question of input. How do you interact with a virtual environment? Because you don't want to just be typing on the screen or moving a mouse when you're actually running around in a game or interacting with surgeon tools in training application for doctors. So there are so many devices nowadays. There are the gloves on the top left and the lip motion. The lip motion now even added an official kit so you can mount it on the Oculus, and it works pretty much like a Kinect. So it detects detects the joints via camera and all the movement. Then there is the STEM, which is a Kickstarter. It was a Kickstarter, which was very successful. It's the evolution of the Hydra controller, which is kind of like the Wii. And gun controller, of course. And then there's also ways to walk in virtual environment with the Virtuix Omni. This is how someone interacting completely with a virtual world might look like. I mean, this is happening today. This is the Virtuix Omni treadmill and a gun controller and a virtual headset to just visualize it. And then it's complete immersion. Well, at least the best we can do nowadays. So the cardboard team really wanted to make something that everyone can access. You know, this thing we have been giving up at the booth. And if you haven't had a chance to get some, we have over here a few boxes to give away as well. And they went to the lab and just experimented with basic materials, cardboard being pretty basic. Everyone gets it when they order pizza or boxes from Amazon, so you can just recycle them. And finally, this is the device you all probably know already. This is just the cardboard where you put your phone inside and you go into a virtual environment. And you know, if you want to assemble it, if you have played with it today, you just open it up. It came up as this box in here, and this is the experience people have been having. So you just open it up, you put the pieces together, fold it in, put your phone in, and you already got just a cheap, inexpensive, affordable headset. And anyone can access it. This is just amazing. I mean, I've been looking for images and people making their own, so not just ours. And people have been making them out of Quaker boxes and milk boxes or pizza boxes. And this is just amazing to see it going, because we have the diagrams online, so anyone can download and make them. And because we have the diagram online, people have been selling them, and this has been going so cheap. Just about a month ago, I had a slide here showing it for about $20, and now I see it going for like £3.5. So that's nothing. If someone doesn't want to go through all the effort of printing it and cutting it, then they can just use this. Now, I've been giving it at the booth, and it was just an amazing experience seeing people try it for the first time and open it. I mean, I've been interacting with the 3D environment and virtual reality for about 3 years now, maybe, and seeing people use it for the first time is just amazing, because I forgot how it feels, but everyone who tries it, it's immersive, it's different. They never experienced it before, and just seeing everyone's excitement is really amazing for me. So thank you guys for being there and trying it out for the first time. Now, everyone interacting with probably saw this menu. This is from our application, the Cardboard app, which you can just download from the Play Store and try out on your own. And this is just a menu you can navigate by moving the cardboard device around. It uses the head tracking, the orientation sensor for the phone to move it, navigate to the menu, and then you press a button to enter an experience. So you can go and travel around the world and almost feel how it would be to be there. It just takes you somewhere. So how does it work? Many people came to the booth, they opened it up, they played around with the device, and they were wondering, how do we get this experience? What makes this simple piece of cardboard give me such an extraordinary and different experience? So these are the basic materials to make it. This is just a cardboard, some glue, some lenses, a magnet, and an NFC sticker. And, just putting it together. So this is a very simple optical setup, because what you want to do is create a stereoscopic view for the viewer to create the illusion of depth and create the 3D visual replication then. So you have an overlap for your eyes to get the perspective properly. And then you have two lenses to magnify your wide field of view of your eyesight into the small screen of the phone, put it at the end. And then you finally have the actual phone, which is acting as a screen and creating the images. But to make it work, you need to create some kind of a renderer in a virtual environment. So we have been using OpenGL, which is just a graphics API. You can also use some game engines. We'll get to it in the end. So you create a virtual environment with one of these tools, And you use your phone sensor to keep track of your phone orientation so you can make a believable feeling. You just immersive because your user wants to look around and see what's going on. And you have the whole field of view and the whole 360 degrees to fill up with your scene and create a whole world. And then to get the stereoscopic view, you create two cameras, which are a bit of an offset from the head position, so a bit to the left, a bit to the right. And this is creating the overlap and the final stereoscopic view, the final stereoscopic image. And you cut your viewport into two images. The whole screen has one on the left for the left eye and one on the right for the right eye. So they have a little bit of an offset on the angle and a little bit of an offset in the position as well. And then finally, you render the scene using the final view metrics which you have made. And then you just, when you look at it from the device through the lenses, you just see a final image. But you can see that it's not there yet. I mean, this image is showing the distortion which is happening due to the lenses, because some of you who may have worked with optics would know that lenses usually distort an image. They're not perfect when they magnify it. And this is called pincushion distortion. Pincushion distortion causes everything further from the center look like it's magnified, so as if you're looking into a wider field of view than you really are. And there's a way to fix it, to make your experience even better, by applying a post-processing effect for each of the viewports called barrel distortion. And barrel distortion is just the opposite. It collapses the scene toward the center, and therefore when you look at cardboard applications or any virtual reality applications from outside the device, you see this image which has this kind of fisheye view, and this is due to the barrel distortion there to compensate for the pincushion distortion to get a clear image when looking through the device. And then there is a question of input. I mean, this is just a simple device. How do you make a foldable button which, you don't use any electronics for it? So we added a magnet on the left side of the device because every phone has a magnetometer. This is used for compass, so we can know where we're facing and how to find our way around when GPS and around. And then when you move this button, you create a small distortion in the magnetic field. If you're detecting this distortion, then you can translate it into input, and therefore a button. And that's just simple and, in my opinion, really cool idea on how to use the already existing sensors on the phone. And then there is also the NFC sticker at the back, because you have your phone and you may want to make an application. So, for example, in maps, you might want to just let the user have their map and following their location around on their phone. But then if you put it on a virtual reality headset, you might want to turn it into virtual reality mode. Just let them put them into street view and let them look around. And if you want to have photos, for example, a photosphere, and you want to scroll around the photo outside of a device, but then you put it in the device, you can just make it into a completely immersive stereoscopic view just by using the NFC sticker. So how do you make your own experience? Most of the people here I've met are developers, and apparently most of you guys are using Java. So we have ways to make experiences with Android and Chrome and using HTML5. Or you can make your experiences and application with a game engine. For example, with Unity, there is a plugin for the FreeDive kit, and it works just the same. So a few friends of mine from Criterion Games, this is the company which made Need for Speed, for example, on the Xbox and PlayStation, have just played around with the devices during a one-day game jam, and they made this game. It's not released yet, but hopefully it will come soon. And we made this video for you to just see what can be done with a game engine, for example, in under 24 hours, just to inspire you how to get going. So let's play this video and hope it works. So in this game, you are playing a repair drone. You are flying around a carrier ship, and meteors are falling down on the ship, and you need to repair it. You need to make sure your ship survives. And this is a multiplayer game. You can't hear it, but the 3 players here are actually communicating with each other because meteors keep falling on the ship and causing damage. So they're saying one fell at the back and one fell on the left, and I'll go this way and you'll go that way. And you can also, because it's multiplayer, you can see them flying around. I mean, the purple vapor is where people need to repair, but you can also see a trail of smoke. There was someone just flying next to this one. This drone, this is actually another player on the top right, which just flew nearby. And they just communicate with each other. They fly around, they say, one fell at the back, I'm going to get it. And they need to survive for a whole 2.5 minutes. And the experience is just so different because you put your cardboard on your face, on your head, and you're suddenly this mechanical drone in space, saving your ship, flying around. By the way, we don't have any sound for this. Why? Yeah, so you get this sensor, this beep, which kind of increases the atmosphere because this is a sensor telling you you're near a damaged sector and you need to go there and repair it. And every now and then you just hear a bang when a meteor falls in or an explosion as your ship gets damaged. This is just an example of how to create a different virtual reality experience using all the dimensions and with just one button. The button just says start moving or stop moving, and that's all. So you just land next to the smoke, which indicating the damaged sectors, and you go to the green circle, and as you stop there, you just start repairing the damage before it explodes. If you wait for too long, it will just explode in your face. And it's actually a really interesting feeling because you kind of expect to fly back or something, and it just doesn't happen, not to make people feel too weird inside the game. And the ship is now on 2 health, and they only have to survive for 10 seconds longer. And this is just another player crashing by the one catcher in the video. And they made it. They jumped into hyperspace, and they have the cheesy high fives. Everyone's happy. And yeah, so I'd say we should applaud to the people who have sacrificed their dignity with cardboard on their face, because not everyone can do it. And also, big thanks to the guys from Criterion Games. They are part of the EA game, so they made this game in just 24 hours and let us use it. So thanks, you guys. And yeah. So if you want to make your own virtual application, if it's a game or anything else, you can just go to the website and get the Cardboard SDK. We have an open source sample, and we also have a link to get the Cardboard app from the Play Store to just try it out. So most of you are probably developing for Android or Chrome, but I'm going to cover Android here. We have made a plugin which you can download from the website, and you just need to extend the Cardboard activity. There are a few rules coming into play with virtual reality. So the Cardboard activity makes sure the screen always stays on, and you always keep it in landscape mode, because you don't want to go to portrait mode. You always want to keep the stereoscopic view. And also, keys are just disabled, and you don't have the system UI because these are very needed pixels, and the system UI doesn't go in virtual reality anyway, so you don't want to see them. And then you also need to implement a camera. Like I've mentioned earlier, the camera is usually made in OpenGL, so our plugin also uses OpenGL and expects it to use OpenGL, but you can use any other API if you have it. And yeah, let's get into the functions you need to override. So you have on your frame. This is called at the beginning of every frame, every scene. You are given the position of the head, the transformation, the orientation in physical space, and you should save it in here and use it later. This is also the place to put your delta time and update all your game logic, your AI, your physics, everything that needs to be done once per frame. And then, like I mentioned, you need to create two views. You have a split screen with two viewports and one rendering, one iteration for each eye. So you have the on-draw eye function, and this is called twice per frame, one for each eye. You get the eye transformation, which is relative to the head transformation, because we need to create the stereoscopic effect. And you need to transform this metrics. This is, if any of you worked with OpenGL, you know that you use view, projection, and world metrics. So the view is the description of your camera, the position of it in the world, and the orientation, while the model metrics or the world metrics is the position and orientation of the model. And then you have projection metrics, which is literally how to transform this 3D information into a screen. So you combine all these matrices around, and you render all of your environment, all of the models in your 3D space. And now there's the question of how do you use the input or the NFC sticker. So you can just override the on-cardboard trigger. But once again, you have only one input. So if you're making, this is from a treasure hunt application we have on the website and you can download. So if you're just looking at a treasure, you want to use the input to pick it up. But if you're not looking at a treasure, if you're just somewhere in the world, you might want to show up the treasure map so the user can know where to go next. I also seen other applications which, for this particular sample, instead of pressing a button to show the map, you just look down and you expect the map to just show up. And then, for example, in our cardboard application, the button just takes you from the menu into any of the available applications we made for the demo. And in Google Earth, for example, it will start your motion or stop your motion, depending which state you're in. And then there is the NFC sticker. So some of you may have noticed when we put the phone inside, the application automatically turns on. Or if you're already in the application, you might want to go from virtual reality mode to normal mode, or from normal mode to virtual reality mode. So there's just two functions you need to override. One for having it inserted into the cardboard. Sorry, I may have forgotten to shut down some chat options. And then, again, when you remove it from cardboard, you may want to go outside of virtual reality environment. And finally, if you want your application to just start on when you put it into cardboard, you can just use the NFC code and create an Android manifest intent filter to open up using this code, and that's all. And finally, there are a few best practices when working with virtual reality, because some of you may have guessed it doesn't work for any application. And, you know, we just had some talks on the new UI and all, so you need to accommodate to some new ideas here. So the first and most important one, in my opinion, is physical motion should correlate with what the user is seeing. So if you're moving the head around and you're looking around the environment, the user would expect that your virtual camera will do the same. If you're not moving the camera, sorry, I'll just mute this now, no more sound anyway. And so yeah, if you are moving around a virtual environment, you want to accommodate it for the virtual camera as well. So if you're trying to move your head and the scene isn't changing, your brain throws an exception. It just doesn't make any sense. You go out of sync, and what's going on here? It doesn't feel right, and all of the immersion just breaks. So always let the user move freely. Always use the sensors to kind of do what the user is expecting you to do. And also, if you're trying to translate the camera in physical space and not just in orientation, we've learned that the best way to do it is to move forward from the view perspective. So don't move left and right too much, because it just doesn't feel right. Always, or mostly, move forward where the user is actually looking at. And next is refresh rate. You really want to keep any application with 60 frames per second. Anything lower than that is jittery and doesn't feel right for the user. We all get mad when our website is loading too slow or the UI is jittery and lagging. Imagine if that's the only thing you see. You can't look away from it. It's on your face. And it just doesn't feel right. So keep refresh rate 60 frames per second, no matter what. You cannot sacrifice this. So that's all. And then you have an infinite screen. It's like having 80 degrees field of view just a foot away from a 50-inch TV. It's not as big as this one, but it's really amazing and immersive. So use it. Make a complete virtual environment. Don't just put a screen in front of the user and make them look at it. Make a whole world. Make something different and take advantage of your new options. And that's really all. Virtual reality isn't just coming. Virtual reality for developers, at least, is now. Anyone can make it themselves. You can just download the diagrams and do it. We have some kits to hand around here if you want them. And just go ahead and explore new experiences you can make and just do something amazing, go into uncharted territory. Things which are just impossible with a normal screen, and explore new things, make something amazing. And that's all. So I hope you enjoyed. And if anyone has any questions or wants to pick some of these and try them out, then just come over here and ask me.